Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stoner Car Care YouTube channel. Today we're talking about water spots, why they happen, how to fix them, and how to prevent it from happening to you again in the future. Stick along with us while we cover that. So why the water spots happen in the first place? Essentially, there's water on the surface, there's something in that water, the water evaporates and it leaves behind whatever was in that water out onto the surface of your vehicle. So there's three levels of water spotting. There's deposit, there's bonded, and then there's etching. So deposit is pretty simple. It's like this one right here. It's just like, in this case, it was salt that was in the water and it's just left on top of the surface. Now, if you leave that long enough, that can bond to the paint, which essentially means it's just stuck to it and you need a little bit extra either chemical to kind of go after that or abrasion to be able to remove that bonded contaminant. And the final level of water spotting is etch. So that's when a water spot has sat on there so long that it's actually eaten down into the clear coat. So today we're going to talk about how to remove the easiest of those, just because that's what this vehicle has on it, but we can kind of show some examples of the different levels for you. All right, the first step to removing the water spots, first and easiest one, is apply more water to the vehicle and see if that's enough to wash it away. All right, so now that we reroute the vehicle, now we're just going to do a little contact wash just to see if a little bit of abrasion is something that can break those loose. Okay, now I know you're thinking, Rich, okay, you washed the car. Wow, groundbreaking. Well, the fact of the matter is that honestly fixes most of the water spots out there. But if you found this video, it's most likely you have something a little bit harder than that to get off. So let's talk about if it's harder to get off than just some simple salt water that's sitting on the surface of the vehicle. So I'm going to go through, wash the rest of this vehicle so we can talk about it a little bit more. You'll see half this hood is beading, half of it is sheeting. We have a protective layer on this side, and that side we left it, so that way it kind of has the sheeting water, so we can kind of explain that in a moment. But what we're gonna do now is dry this off, and if the water spots are still there, then we'll go another level deeper of cleaning to show you how to remove those. All right, so luckily for us, this water spotting came off just with a regular contact wash. But let's say you weren't so lucky and when you washed it off, you could still see all the little dots of the water spots. Most likely what that came from is probably hard water, essentially some mineral that was in that water, either from your spigot or from rain or from a water sprinkler or something you park next to. And then when that water evaporated, it left behind that mineral that's still on the surface of the vehicle, and that actually forms a bond between the clear coat and that mineral, so it's really hard to get off. Best way of going about doing that, the safest way to start would be using a low pH wash, so that way it just had that low pH can go in and break down the metallic particles in there. If that's not quite working for you, you can use a dedicated water spot remover. Typically that's just a little bit stronger of a pH, more into the acid range, that is going to be able to go in, break that bond loose so you can wash it away. Now, if you've done that step and you still have those water spots left over, now you've gotten to the point where it's etched, where it has actually eaten down into the clear coat. And the only way to remove that is to lower the highest parts of the clear coat down to the lowest part of the clear coats, which you're doing that with polishing. So you're going over with a rotary polisher or a dual action polisher, and you're going to level down the highest spots down to the lowest points, and it's essentially going to remove that water spot for you. But that also reduces the durability of your clear coat because you don't have quite as thick as clear coat as you would before you did that, but looks a lot better in the end result. So now we are at the point where we're talking about how to prevent these water spots from happening on your vehicle for the future. There's a couple different ways of going about it. One of the most common times you're gonna get the water spots is after you just wash your vehicle. You can see all of these little beads all over the vehicle that are essentially little magnifying glasses for the sun. So the sun goes in there, superheats that, evaporates the water quickly, leaving behind whatever was in that water. Now, if you have deionized water, not too big of an issue, but if you have any kind of regular tap water that has minerals in it, that's going to leave that spot on the vehicle, and I'm sure you all have seen that before. So you can thoroughly dry the car with a towel. That one's pretty obvious. You can also use like a car wash like our Hobbit ceramic car wash. This has kind of a two-part technology to it where when you're doing the wash, it'll actually have a hydrophilic layer where it just gets all the water to run off the vehicle without beading. And then after all that water's off, it sets up and creates a hydrophobic coating, so that way when it rains next time, it builds all the beads back up and has that nice protective layer. So that's the way you could do it in the actual car washing process. What we prefer to do is to have some kind of sacrificial layer on top of the surface so that if that water bead does happen, so we're talking after the car wash now your car's just sitting out by the street, hits by a sprinkler, or you're parking in a parking garage, you come out and it's been leaking onto the hood of your car. As long as you have some kind of barrier between your painted surface and that water spot, it's gonna be a lot easier to remove for one, and you're damaging whatever that coating is versus versus your clear coat. So you could have a ceramic coating on there, would be a little bit of a layer, but one of the things we like to have is like a carnauba wax layer, which is like our speed bead. So to do that, all you simply do is spray it on the vehicle and wipe it down. And now if there were to be any kind of water runoff on your vehicle, like last week I came back from the airport, my car was parked in the parking garage, and it must have rained. The water leaked through the parking garage onto the hood of my car and just left a big dry water spot there. Now, being gone for a week, they come back, that could be etched by that point. So by having this under here, it's just eating into that carnauba wax layer of the speed bead rather than my clear coat. So it's real easy. You could just do a regular car wash, it's gone, replenish the sacrificial layer. So we're gonna go around the car, just cover this up good with the speed bead, make sure that this car is covered for the future. One of the most common water spots you'll see, even people that keep their car cleaned regularly, if they go through a car wash, or the water will build up in the mirror and kind of run down the side here. So make sure you have a coating over that. I'll usually keep like a towel in my car, because even after you drive the vehicle, looks all good to go. You go drive the vehicle down to the gas station or something like that, you get out and you still got that line right there. Then if you have a towel ready to go in your car, you can just wipe it down there. That might just be for the OCD obsessed people like myself, but hey, if you're trying to keep your car looking good, it's helpful to have some kind of thing in your car to dry that off. All right, so that's all there is to it to fix your water spots up and prevent them from happening again in the future. Let us know down in the comments below if you want to see a video on how to actually remove etched water spots, so we can make a polishing video on that for you. But thanks for joining us in this one. See you in the next one.